Hey, what's up, everybody? It's morning, Sunday morning. I'm not going to say what time. It is the 19th of May, 2013. And I thought I'd kind of pose a little question. This is a question and a bit of a thank you, too. I want to thank, first of all, Laura Blue Olson, if you will, for responding to my video, as well as to the season staff. Again, I really appreciate. I think on behalf of a lot of seasoned Satyam fans, I think I could say this when I say I really appreciate what you guys are trying to do by bringing season 3 to life in your own animated form, in your own animated way, if you will. So I really appreciate that, and I'm sure a lot of fans throughout appreciate you guys doing that as well. And I'm definitely positive that you guys are going to get a lot of support when you go down to San Diego and then down to Florida to the Comic Con as well as to the SuperCon, if you will. Excuse me. But I thought I'd kind of pose a little bit of a question to you guys, because I don't know if anybody else has posed this question to you. It's kind of funny that when I go on several Sonic sites, a lot of Sonic fans, pretty much, well, not a lot of Sonic fans, but a vast majority, or a vast majority, and a good share of Sonic fans, I should say, have recently, in the past few months, vocalized through the message boards that they would rather read the season webcomic than what's going on in the official Archie comic. And that kind of surprises me a little bit, but when I look at what's being done with the season comic and kind of see what you guys are bringing forward in that comic, and thus down the line bringing forward to an animated form, I don't think I can really blame some of these fans, because what I've read, and this is just in the recent chapters and pages that you guys have uploaded over at sonicsatyam.com, it's really amazing. When I compare the differences between the different origins of Nicole, from what we got in the comics, the official Archie comics, and to what we're getting in season. As much as I'm a fan of the Archie comics of Sonic the Hedgehog, I have to say that what we're getting in season is a better origin story for Nicole than we ever would have gotten in the Archie one. I can understand the whole, hey, let's do the future thing and have Nicole be from the future. But to me, I really like how the season version is kind of more coherent, kind of makes more sense, kind of more of a. It really drags you in emotionally, because, and this is spoilers in case anybody's going to hear this. This is essentially you find out that Nicole is an actual blood relation in Sally's family. And we're not talking, blood relation as in just cousins or aunts and uncles. No, we're talking very close blood relation. And let's just say it's one that, well, to give a hint, and this is a bit of a spoiler, but it's not that much of a spoiler, it's a bit of a hint. Let's just say we celebrated that day, that holiday, this past Sunday. And for that to be the origin of Nicole, from what I'm looking at, it's really, really quite amazing, because when you think about it, I'm just putting the cat up where she can be up on the chair. Um, but when you think about it, it's it's really it's really kind of amazing. Excuse me for a second. I guess the cat wanted back in the garage. But like I said, when you think about it, it does make a lot more sense. And it really is an emotional surprise, or really an emotional twist there. But again, it really, to me, really works in coherent with the season itself, with the original broadcast of the season, because we really didn't know much about Nicole. The only hint that we ever got about Nicole's origins was in Droodhedge, when, or Droodhedge, when Uncle Chuck told Sally that her father had programmed many programs into Nicole, some not unlockable, some that were unlockable until she became 18 years old. So for this to be connected to, for the origin that we're getting here, it's really amazing. It's really a great connection to me, to that very moment in Droodhedge. And again, this is where I understand why a lot of fans favor the season webcomic over what's going on in the Archie comic right now. So my first question to you guys is, does that surprise you? Does it surprise you that there are a vast majority, or a good share of fans that would rather read what's going on in the season webcomic instead of read what's going on in the official Archie comic? Because at first it kind of surprised me, but honestly, when I look back and forth, it's like it's not really that much of a surprise now. So I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are on that. Also, speaking of Sally, I don't know if anybody's asked you this, but I want to know what you guys' initial thoughts are on Sally in the comics right now. What are your initial thoughts on what Ian Flynn did? You know, some fans don't like what he's done to her, roboticizing her and then weaponizing her, and then coming up with the redesign that pretty much a lot of people say, hey, that redesign is just her wearing clothing similar to her weaponization. I want to know what your guys' thoughts on that. Do you think he did the right thing? Do you think he could have done more with her in this situation, or do you think he could have gone in another direction? Also, do you guys think that perhaps, as some people look at this, that this was nothing more than a long, drug-out excuse to get her fully clothed? Not saying that's a bad thing. In fact, I'm okay with the redesign. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think some fans are right when they say, hey, all he did was just drag this out so she can get a new redesign, get fully clothed? What are you guys' thoughts on that? I mean, let's not forget, she was fully clothed when one thinks about it, in Sad AM in season 2 in Blast of the Past. But of course, she was a kid then, so that was the exception. But still, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. I mean, of course, it's not the first time she's sort of been fully clothed in the comics. Let's not deny that. She's been fully clothed, if you will, when Sonic was knighted. She was fully clothed in the little short story where Bunny was getting all these Chaos Emeralds or something like that to make into little, rings or jewelry so she can go with Tails and Sonic and Sally to a ball. So again, it's not the first time. In fact, you take a look at years later, Mobius years later, and it's definitely not the first time. But my question to you guys again is, what are your thoughts on all that? Do you think he did the right thing? Do you think he did the right thing in doing what he did with her? Do you think it's going to help her character? Or do you think he could have done something different? Do you think what some fans say that, hey, if he wanted to redesign her or give her clothing, a makeover, just do a side story? Do you think he could have done better with that? A lot of people feel that perhaps he could have. Well, not a lot, but a good share of people feel he could have. But again, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. Because, I listen to you guys, and when I hear Laura, when I hear you do Sally's voice, and I hope you take this as a compliment, I don't think Cat Sushi, if she's heard of this, if she would hear of this, or would have heard of this, or will hear of this, I don't think Cat Sushi couldn't have picked a better voice actress to do the voice of Sally. I really don't. But again, I want to know what your guys' thoughts on this whole situation is, and more importantly, what are your thoughts on the whole possible redesign of the characters? From Sally, from Bunny to Antoine. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you think it was the right thing to do, or do you think it's time for an update, or do you think they shouldn't mess with them? Again, what are your thoughts on Sally being roboticized and modified and weaponized? Do you think they could have done more with her, made her more of a threat, or do you think they should have chose someone else? I'm just curious about what you guys think. I mean, I'd like to know what you guys think about this scene that you're working on season, and it's going to be, to me, probably one of the best things, probably one of the best YouTube series, animated-wise, to be on the YT, whether it's full episodes, serial episodes, like 7 to 11 minutes, or whatever. I know it's going to be good, and I know you guys are going to do whatever it takes to make it the best Sonic animated series in recent memory. I really do. I mean, so again, though, I want to know what your guys' thoughts on all those questions are. I mean, if you guys have the time to answer them. I just want to know what your thoughts are on it. And here's another thing. I mean, for some of you that may follow the comic, do you think, honestly, because I've thought about this myself, I've written this in text on the message boards, I've voiced it here on YouTube. Do you think possibly that the Eggman's going to come full circle here? And what I mean is, do you think Eggman is going to go insane again? Because he's going through all this just to get control, and yet we pretty much know what's going to be the outcome of Worlds Collide and, the conclusion of at all cost. But what are your thoughts on that? Let me know what you guys think below, because I would like to know what your thoughts are. And those are just questions I would like to hear from you guys personally and know what you guys think of it. And that's about it. That's all I'm going to say. In closing, again, guys, keep up the great work. God has truly blessed you guys and trying to get Sea3son off the ground and making it into a animated reality. So, good. Keep up the good work. But let me know what you guys' thoughts on these questions are. And I will talk to y'all later. And anybody else listening, comments are welcome. But please be respectful and be unbiased, and don't try to show no favoritism anywhere, but just, if you're listening and you want to contribute your comments, go ahead, but this is mainly a message for the questions for the Sea3son staff, and that's all I'm going to say, and thank you all for listening.